Hi there, I'm Tyler and welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about my finishing spray setup, the only way to apply finishing to your woodworking projects. So this is my mobile finishing setup right here. The heart of the system is the Fuji Q5 Platinum, which you can see right here, and this Harbor Freight rolling toolbox in a beautiful DIYTyler orange. If you have been a subscriber to this channel for a while, which you totally should be, you have seen me spray a lot of finishing over the last couple of years. And for the last two, I've been using this Fuji Q5 Platinum, and Fuji is a sponsor of today's video. So thank you to Josh and Jim and Mark and the guys over there for supporting this channel. They know that I'm making a video about a spray cart. They know nothing more about it. All of these opinions are my own, and it is a product I highly recommend to you. I will have a link to the Fuji catalog down in the description below, as well as links to all the products that I'm going to talk about in this video. This is the Fuji Q5, which is the quieter of the two Platinum series that Fuji carries, which is the Fuji Q5 and the Fuji 5-stage Mini-Mite, I think, is the other system that they have. But you can check all the different turbines out for all different levels that you are after over at fujispray.com. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I was taking this system and the corresponding hose out of the original shipping box every single time that I wanted to use it. And it just took a lot of time, and it was kind of making me grab a rattle can here and there and applying a subpar finish. So I wanted to do a rolling solution so that I can roll it outside of the shop, which is where I do almost all of my spraying. And when I saw this beautiful orange Harbor Freight toolbox, I knew this is what I needed to do. I was able to get this toolbox for about $180, I think, and it's actually a really good toolbox. I went from 0 to 3 toolboxes in 1 week a couple of months ago, and I would say this is actually the best quality of the 3 that I got. The only thing that it doesn't have, and I don't really like about it, is if you don't open the lid, you cannot open the drawers, which is kind of a good thing because the kids can't get in it. But I do like to mix and filter my finishes on top of here. And if I gotta reach down and grab a new cup or a rag or something, I can't open the drawer. So I don't know if I'm gonna modify it to get around that, but for right now, that's one of the downsides of it. The other is that there's not soft close drawer slides on there. So when you slam it shut, sometimes all your stuff will go flying to the back instead of gently closing and pulling that drawer in. But anyway, back to all of the spray stuff. If you've been around a while, you'll know that I've progressed through several sprayers throughout the years. The whole point of me telling you that is that you don't need an expensive Fuji turbine to apply finish. You can do things with a cheaper Harbor Freight gun. That is where I started. And with that Harbor Freight gun and the skills that you already have, you can probably get 85 to 90% of the results that a more skilled sprayer with better equipment might achieve. That extra 15% comes with years of skill and a little bit of money applied to the equipment that you are using. But some of the peripherals that I'll show you in here make applying finishes so much easier, so much faster, save you so much cleaning time, and so forth. So let's get started with what's going on inside this cabinet. Make sure I keep my notes here on what's going on. So I use 2 different Fuji guns for applying my finishes, a T75G and a T70. These look eerily similar. The controls and the trigger are exactly the same. The only difference between the two is the T75G is a gravity gun and the T70 is a siphon gun. Now, it's not a true siphon gun because both of the Fuji guns apply pressure into the cup to help ease product flow. You will notice that on the guns right now, I have some weird looking adapters, and these are the 3M adapters to allow me to use the PPS system, which we will talk about in a minute. For these guns, I have 3 different spray tips right now. I have a 1.0, a 1.3, and a 1.8 tip. And these are used for different viscosity finishes that you're going to apply. And the way I find out which tip to use is experience at this point. But if you're just getting started, there's a chart that I have handy right here. And you can find this chart in a link in the description below or at fujispray.com. And this will tell you when you're using a Ford number 4 cup, which is a viscosity testing cup. Looks just like this. When you dip this cup full into your finish and allow it to stream out until you don't have a steady flow out of here, you time that. And that time will tell you how viscous that fluid is, and then you can correspondingly pick the correct tip. Now it is important to have the right tip, because if you have a tip that's too small, you won't get enough fluid and you will get dots on your finish. And if you have a tip that is too big for a fluid that flows too easily, you won't be able to atomize that, and then again you'll get dots and you won't be able to lay down a nice top coat. On the top here you can see I have some measuring spoons, which I use sometimes to mix up different stains. I got gloves, I got a filter stand, and it is super important to filter all your finishes and paint, because the tiniest little glob in there will mess up the flow through your spray guns, messing up your top coat that you're laying down oh so perfectly. Also up here I have a 3M full face respirator with organic filters on there. I haven't been using this for too long, but so far it is the only thing that allows me to protect my eyes without fogging up. I do have a pair of goggles that I've tried that were supposed to be pretty good, but with a respirator on, they fogged up too much and I ended up not wearing them. This full face has been pretty nice. You cannot wear glasses with it if you are going to wear glasses, and it also gets a little bit warm inside there if you're spraying for long periods of time. This face shield also has removable covers on there, so if you get it dirty, you just peel it off and apply a new one, which I also have in the drawer right over here. The only issue with that is it does kind of cast some weird glares on the face shield when you have that cover on there, which messes up your view a little bit, but not too bad. Also on the top here, I have filters, and I typically use a 200 micron filter to filter all of my finishes. Then in the top drawer here, we already looked at the spray caps. I have some tools for opening paint cans, a gun cleaning kit, and a wrench for getting tips off and tightening things down if I need to. On the second drawer, I got my Ford 4 cups. I got some attachments for the Fuji hoses, gaskets, and checkback valves. And also in here, I have a couple of wet film gauges, and these are really important, especially when you're applying a new finish that you're not super familiar with, because the natural tendency is to lay down too heavy a top coat. So you want to spray your finishes down, you want to put this wet film gauge into it and drag it forward. And you'll see some numbers here, and these correspond to the mil or thousandths of an inch of that finish applied. A lot of what I lay down is a 3 mil wet film, so I want to drag that forward, and I would want to see a line for 1 and 2 and not 3, because that means I have the perfect amount of finish under that mil gauge. So those are really handy, and those could help you with some issues if you're not getting that perfectly glassy finish that you're after. And after a while of using those, you won't need them anymore, because you'll get the hang of how that finish is flowing through your gun, so you know exactly what you're putting down. And in this drawer over here, I have some mixing cups if I need to mix any weird ratios. I got some caps, just some random cups for getting finish out, and then some 3M PPS lids and caps. And we will talk about these guys more later. This system is a little bit expensive to get into, but it is absolutely magical and will save you so much time and money in time, and just in the finish that you're going to go through, the cleaning time, and you're probably going to grab rattle cans less if you use these, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. In this drawer here, I got a filter, I got some rags, tack cloth, the sandpaper that I use to sand my finishes, the manuals for my guns, and a couple of chip brushes. Not that I really use these when I'm spraying, but this is all about having all of my stuff in one area. Moving down one more drawer, we got all of the different cups that I have for my Fuji guns. Hey, are you guys subscribed to the channel? If not, you totally should be. You're missing out on all this good stuff. Subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss when we upload a new video. Right here is the original 1 quart aluminum can that will come with the T70 siphon spray gun. This is the 600 milliliter nylon that will come with the T75G. And this will screw right onto the gun right there. I just have the adapter for the 3M PPS system, which I'll show you in just a second. I also have a couple of additional 250 milliliter cups for smaller spray jobs that I might have, but this guy is probably going to be rendered pretty much obsolete by the new 3M PPS 2.0 cups that I have right here. Let me lay these out, but I do want to show you one more cup that I have that's in the bottom here, and this is a pressure pot. This is a 2 quart pressure pot, which means I can completely remove the tank from the gun and connect the hose directly. I've only used this 2 quart pressure pot on my T70, which means the hose is connecting to the bottom here. But you connect your fluid hose right here, you'll connect your turbine hose as normal right here, but that turbine hose is running through here and then back to your 4 or 5 stage turbine. You got to have a 4 or 5 to be able to run this cup. But this thing is awesome because you can spray in any orientation or direction and you have a much bigger pot of fluid, so you don't have to fill up as much. Fuji does have a 2.5 gallon pressure pot as well, but it has not been tested with only a 4 or 5 stage turbine. You have to have external air to pressurize that pot and then the turbine to run the gun. But you can use a cheapo little pancake compressor because the only volume that you're going to be replacing in that pot is that 2.5 gallons of finish. And 2.5 gallons of finish is going to take you a long time to lay down. And if you have a 3 gallon compressor, that compressor is probably only going to run one time to pressurize that tank. So you're not looking for a high SCFM of air through that compressor. You're simply trying to pressurize that pot with about 10 pounds of pressure. So this thing is fantastic. You've seen me use this a couple of times when I was doing the big finishing jobs in the mudroom lockers and the laundry room cabinets. So the 3M PPS. There are a couple fantastic features about this. Let me preface, this is the 3M PPS 2.0 series. There is a 1.0, and the biggest differences that I can see is the 2.0 added many more sizes of cups, and they changed the way the adapter connects to the guns, adding 4 points of contact, making everything a little bit more stable, which is awesome. And they also made the this attachment mechanism to the cup a little bit more robust than it was before. One item of note with the new 3M PPS 2.0 is they all come with these integrated black lids. Now they do pop off very easily, and you will need to do that to be able to put them in the HO cup. There are openings in the HO cap to allow these little tab portions to align accordingly. Let me get this guy off here. So because we have a turbine gun, we need to additionally get these HO or high output cups. And that is because the Fuji guns have this pressurization hose. And that is going to be connected to this guy right here. And this is going to pressurize underneath that bag of finish. But if you had a compressor gun, this would be your setup right here, ready to go. No need to get these high output cups. Again, the only reason for that is that the Fuji guns pressurize their cup fluid as well, allowing for better product flow. So the 3M PPS 2.0 comes in 4 or 5 sizes. I will have a link to their media kit down there below if you're interested in learning a little bit more about it. But over here I have the 22 ounce, I have the 13.5, and I think I have a 6 ounce as well. So the large HO cup will hold the 28 and the 22, so the large and the standard, and then this little cup will hold all of the mini, and micro size cups. So if you look a little bit closer, you can tell that the liner just doesn't go down as far, but the top is the same, fitting in that different cup. Why is this system worth it for you to spend the money on? There's a couple reasons. The first one is going to be an immense amount of time. I'm talking like 90% less time spent cleaning your equipment, because if you got this cup on here and you are done spraying your finish at this point, you pop this guy off, and this is all you need to clean out of this entire spray gun, and that'll take you about a minute. And then, besides all that, you can unscrew this lid, and this is all that's dirty, instead of this entire gigantic cup that you need to clean out. This is all that's dirty. You can choose to cap this guy, and you are ready to use this for another day. I've left finish in here for up to a month at this point with no issues. I just make sure, as you can see right here, that I blow through the line right here to make sure that fluid is covering the internal filter of the cap. And that's another fantastic aspect of the 3M PPS, is you don't have to pre-filter your material because the filter is built right in, and these come in 125 or 200 micron flavors. And then these liners can be cleaned out if you want. I have used a 3M PPS liner for over a year on one of my spray guns using latex paint. Granted, I don't use it very often, but I have reused that liner again and again and again with no ill effects so far. Because it's so easy to clean the gun, you can be running 2 different finishes in here super easily. Just pop this out, put your other liner in with a different lid, clean out your gun a little bit, and you are ready to go. It's really a beautiful system, and because it is pressurized all over, you don't need to worry about the orientation that you are spraying or how low your pot actually is getting. So you won't be moving along, laying down a beautiful top coat and get that burp in your tank right there, messing up what you were laying down so fantastically. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this 3M system if you do any amount of finishing. And I bought all this stuff on my own with my own money, did all the research on the 2.0 because it's very new and it was a little bit tricky to find all the parts, but all of these will be linked for you guys down in the description below. The last point of this thing that is so awesome is I will probably be using a lot less rattle can finish, not that I use very much, but now I can have a couple of these guys with different finishes in it, ready to go, and it's just so much easier to clean up and get things moving. I don't know if I mentioned that there are ratio liners that can go in these different cups. There's two different sizes for the big one and the little one. Costs about $1 for those liners, and I imagine they will last a long time because you're not going to get any finish on them. But then you can mix up different ratios right in your cup and you're ready to go. The last thing I want to mention that I learned when I was at an advanced Fuji Spray class a couple of weeks ago over in Toronto was to have a shooting logbook. Just like a sniper is gonna log every shot that goes through his gun, you should log every shot that goes through your spray gun so you know exactly how that gun is going to react with a different surface preparation and different materials in that gun. When I was in that Fuji class, they provided a couple of sheets of paper in our binder that discussed some good things. I jotted them down in a smaller notebook that I can keep right out here with my spray system. Things like the project name and when I worked on it. Maybe I should have some things down here like the humidity at that time and the temperature, and then the grits and preparation, the finishing material, did I do a sanding sealer, dye stain, what kind of top coat was I using, and then how I applied it with what gun, time between coats, sanded between coats, etc. And then the equipment that I used so I know which needle air cap I use for certain finishes. Things like this coupled with time and experience will allow you to go from that 85% finisher to the 100% or 99% successful finisher that can lay down a beautiful finish every single time. One last little nugget that I have on this cart is a roll of brown paper that I'm going to mount right over here somewhere so that I can continuously roll that out to test out my fan patterns before I apply any finish to those projects that I've worked so hard on preparing up to this point. I can just unroll a little bit, test my spray, rip it off, and we're ready to go with a new setup. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will have links for all of this beautiful goodness down in the description below. And if you guys have any questions, I will answer them in the comments down below. And I'm sure Jim and Josh from Fuji Spray will be more than willing to jump into the comments if there are any questions that I cannot handle. Big thanks to Fuji for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel for such a long time. They are truly great partners. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hammer that thumbs up button. It helps us out a ton and gets this video in front of more eyes. I'm DIYTyler, and you guys have a good one.